Time. As you know, we're in the middle of a major pandemic that is leading to lots of economic fallout. And every day you wake up, you look at the news, you hear something different. There's like 1,000 things going on, if there's 1,000,000 things going on, and it's a moving target. And fortunately, through some relationships that I had, one of them being Olga Perez. Oh, Patrick, by the way, she's got an event tomorrow night. I don't know if you know that. Or Wednesday.
I do. I am aware.
That's right. She's got a virtual event.
Virtual networking, right?
We'll give a shout out to Olga because I met you at her event in Philadelphia. And you've been doing, first of all, you've been doing some amazing work. I'm going to tell people about you in a minute. But first, I just want to give you an opportunity to say hello to everyone as we're warming up here.
Hey, everybody. My name is Patrick Rude, owner of Rude Financial Services. And I think, did we first meet through Olga at the charge station? I think it was. I think that was where we met.
Yes.
Lots of good things came from that event.
Yeah. It absolutely did. Lots of great relationships and great things. And Patrick, is it okay to tell everyone where you're from or?
Yeah, absolutely. So, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I was going to ask you to tell. I know I'm going to tell people a little bit about you, but I just wanted people to know where you're checking in from.
Checking in from Deptford, New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia, although our business is based in Center City. Mm-hmm. You want me to go into the origin story where I came from originally? Because I'm not from here originally.
Sure. Let's do it. We got some time. I want people to know who you are because that's important to me.
Sure. Absolutely. Originally born and raised in Michigan, then spent about 8 years, not quite, 8 years on the road. About 6 of that was while I was getting my education in accounting and business management. And so far have been to or lived in every state except Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then you got to get that done.
I know that's definitely on the bucket list, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ironically, members of my family, like immediate family, have been to Hawaii and go to Hawaii regularly, just not me. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what's weird about it. It's like, the one place, but
okay.
Then in 2000, probably 2011, we moved out here from Michigan, me and my wife, and my wife is from South Africa.
Wow, that's interesting. Because one of our listeners who checks in all the time is from South Africa.
Nice.
So maybe she'll be on here.
That'd be cool. So we moved from Michigan to South Jersey and decided to settle down there, brought my business over here. This was during the recession and trying to find some place where the economy wasn't so necessarily affected or that there was more industry than just the automotive industry. Like there is in Michigan. I realize that that's a very, broad statement or sweeping statement, whatever you want to call it. There's more industries in Michigan than just the automotive industry.
Sure.
But it was a little bit of a tough climate there. 08, 09, 2010. So 2011, we decided to pack it up and move east and liked South Jersey and Philadelphia so much that we decided to stay, make it home.
Yeah. And by the way, you and I are both members of the Pyramid Club too. I know there in Philadelphia. So it's a great, and actually thanks to you, I'm a member there because you're the one that introduced me to that. So this is great. I just want to share with people that this is going to be valuable. So my intention is to grab this video and be able to repurpose it. But Patrick's been in business since 2000. It sounds like you started right in the belly of the recession back in 2008. Is that right?
Yeah, I spent 2006, 2007 trying to find a job, and there just weren't any. It was rough. So then I was like, well, what can I do? Work for myself. So that's what I did. I had always done my own taxes, and I had started doing taxes for friends and and family, and then just kind of branched out from there. And so that was the birth of my firm in 2008.
Wow. And that was the middle of, that must have been an interesting story right there, because that was in the middle of the recession in 2008. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine starting a business in one of the worst economies that I had ever witnessed in my lifetime.
But that's interesting. And that's, and now you got a 12-year track record. And then here we are, you're in the, everyone, we're in the middle of this. And I just want to tell people, like, I had an opportunity to sit in on what you're doing. And, I know you personally have a goal to save 100 local businesses, but you're connected with some people that are just have their pulse on like they're checking in probably hour by hour, at this point. I mean, just to keep an eye on what's happening. And it seems to me that you really have a pulse on this, and your affiliates, you and your affiliates, want to help 10,000 businesses. Is that right? You want to help 10,000
businesses across the U.S. We're connected with a network of 160 other firms that are literally working on this every day, day in, day out. Is someone is asking questions, someone's answering questions. Where literally there's probably, I want to say 15 or 20 of us that are on hold or on with the SBA every single day, asking questions, figuring out what timelines are going to be, checking the Treasury website for new updated information and guidance, and then just putting together the information. And I hate to say this, but I find it kind of unfortunate, but it seems like we're more on top of things than the actual banks are right now, trying to get these people out their PPP loans, or, personal paycheck or paycheck protection program loans. The banks are some of them have stopped taking applications. Other of them haven't even started yet. Some are trying to put together fancy, online application forms, and instead of just working with what the SBA has provided them and getting the application out there for people to just fill it in. But it's
yes,
a turbulent time, but I think it'll come together. They'll figure it out.
Yeah. And so this is a good time to talk through. I mean, you got it can be confusing. And I know you've actually worked with companies that have accountants on staff, and they're trying to figure it out. And, it's like, what was it 350 billion for this, 2 trillion for that? Like, what's the deal? And then I just read today, I'm not going to mention the bank because I don't want to, disparage anyone, but they were turning customers away who had been like customers, and because they'd never done a loan with the bank, they basically said, no, you're not allowed. So there's, it created a lot of chaos. So there's a lot of confusion and a lot of chaos. And we know that the money's going to run out. It's going to, it's limited. And the ability
our best estimate right now is that only about 10 million businesses will actually receive funding.
10 million businesses. So time is of the essence. Is it right, Patrick? I mean,
yeah, essentially the thing to keep in mind with this is that it's getting your application in is fine and good, but if you don't get your application in completely the first time, then you go to the back of the line. You're now someone who may have a more complete application is getting ahead of you, and they may get the funds that you were hoping for.
I think you just hit it. And I think that, and I've done the things that I've done, and I know some other business people, when you're dealing with the government, the key is you want to make that first application 1,000% correct, because if it has to come back, they've shuffled it out of the pile, and then you get pushed to the bottom, and they want the easiest ones to process, where everything's correct and it's right. And it's literally stringent, right? I mean, it's literally the, cross your T's and dot your I's, or you're going to the back and you might miss it.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that the banks themselves can actually change the requirements for the SBA loans. So the general guidelines that the SBA provides may not even be followed. The bank may choose to impose stricter guidelines. to
Right.
receive funding, so that they can make sure that their top echelon clients are the ones that get the funds, not whoever walks in the door. So that's the one thing that probably terrifies me the most, is that you're going to have businesses that actually really need the money, as opposed to businesses that could probably make it through without it, are going to get accepted, whereas the ones who actually need the money, or they're going out of business, might not get the money because it's going to run out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So let's talk about, and I know you have. We'll get into this. Patrick is doing full informational sessions, so we're not doing a full informational session. It's very detailed. It's very in depth. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, there's not enough time for us to go through it and answer questions.
Right, and we don't have the thing set up. But what we want to do, we want to give a high level overview of maybe what you can do. And there's going to be an invitation to connect with Patrick, and this is a free information session, right? Patrick, is what you're going to be offering. Okay.
No obligation whatsoever.
Right.
My main goal is to get the information out there. We provide two options. You can either do it yourself and try the best you can, or you can have it done for you. And either way, we still provide the information. So, right. It's neither one is good or bad. Some people are very organized and they have everything together and they're very meticulous. And if that's you, then go and apply, please get, before the money runs out.
Right.
But a lot of the majority of, entrepreneurs that I've run into, I don't know if you can speak to that, Austin, or not, but are not necessarily the most organized people, because we're idea people.
Listen, I'm a perfect example of that. Like, for me to go and do something like this, could I do it? Yes. But to take the bandwidth to go and do something like that, when you're sorting through so many other things, and I just believe, my time is so valuable. So why am I going to go try to relearn, where it would take you and your team, you'd be able to sort through it rather quickly. And, me spend days or weeks trying to just get the application done, because you're trying to figure out what goes where and what you need and the whole thing. So
I actually put it into context today for somebody when I was talking to them about it. And I was like, look, the true honest answer is that to fill out and get together everything for your application will take me and my team probably a gross amount of about 20 hours.
Wow. So you're saying it takes 20 hours for your team to do it?
Right. For my team. And we do it every day. But for someone who's never gone through this process before, or someone that, is not as organized or doesn't have everything together in one spot, you're talking about 40, 50, 60 hours at least just to get the applications filled out.
Wow.
And to get all the documents together for the loan officer after you get the application filled.
So it's like a full week worth of work, basically doing work that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Most people, I shouldn't say most people are not going to be used to this. It's not going to be comfortable for them to go through that.
No, it's not. I mean, it's, and I've been trying to communicate to people in terms they understand. It's almost worse than trying to file your taxes all on your own with paper forms. Like, like if you had to accumulate a year's worth of information and pack it down and chop it up into chunks that would be easily communicatable to the government, and then fill out applications and forms to support that information, and then try and submit that to the government in all good on the first try. To be honest with you, I don't know many people that couldn't do it without some kind of team behind them, to be honest.
Right. Now let's just talk about maybe quickly, so people at least understand what's available. I think that's
absolutely
just high level, because it can be confusing. Wait, it's a loan, but it's forgivable. Like, what? Like, is it a loan? Is it not a loan? Like, what is it? So people can get an idea.
So you have three options right now. You have a slew of payroll tax credits and payroll deferrals that started April 1st and will go until we're still receiving guidance, but from right now, we're going to say until the end of the year. And you can defer those taxes for, until 2021, 2022. You can get up to $10,000 per employee for retaining that employee. You can get then there's the other option, which is a forgivable loan, which essentially is a loan with your bank in conjunction with the SBA. Those are the PPP loans that everybody keeps talking about. And there are special things that you have to do and special ways you have to account for that money in order for it to be forgiven. Otherwise, it's a loan with a 2-year term. And then the third option is you have disaster loans, which are literally what they sound like. So it's the traditional FEMA disaster loans. If you're a sole proprietor, you have to apply through FEMA before you can apply for the loan. If you're an LLC or corporation, you can directly apply through the SBA for the loan. And then in 3 to 4 weeks, you'll be applied a loan or given a loan officer. And that is an actual traditional loan with an interest rate that's paid back over a term of up to 30 years.
And then what did I read? Like, is that the SBA, or is it the feds backing the loans? Is that like,
yes,
are they backing?
All the loans are federally guaranteed. The only time a personal guarantee is required is if it's a loan of over $250,000 or $200,000.
Right, which is not going to be, most people are probably
not going to be your average. It's not going to be your average Joe.
Yes.
It's not going to be your average business owner. If you're not making $200,000 to $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 in a year, even as a business owner, then or gross revenue, that is, then there's no way you're getting a $200,000 loan. They're not going to give you half a year's revenue, just because of the disaster,
Right. Now, so then there's different options for people here. And I think, what else I think is important, Patrick, which is you and I were talking about on the phone, is for people not to forget the options that are on the table that are outside of the normal, stimulus. Like, there's things that people can do
Absolutely
that are outside of it, because now is tax time and the government just extended. We know the government just extended that, correct?
Yep. They did until July 15th.
Right. Till July 15th. So you want to share like what you were sharing with me about, which is an obvious thing that people can do, but it's
the net operating losses, right? So
that, and then also deferring, if you're deferring your tax payment, or breaking that out into payments. An IRS payment plan, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So if you do end up owing money to the IRS at the end of the year, come July 15th, when you're ready to file your taxes, thanks for, I've been going a couple different ways today.
No,
so thanks for setting me on track.
Yeah.
You can apply for a payment plan, and they'll break it up over a certain number of months to where you can actually pay that tax liability off. And then, as part of the CARES Act stimulus bill, you can also, if there was a profitable year in the past, or maybe this year was your profitable year for 2019 or what have you, but you have some losses from the last 5 years that you haven't been able to use, you can actually use those losses now, or go back and amend a return for a profitable year to kind of get cash to keep your business going.
I think that's a really key point. So if you had a loss in the past 5 years that you did not file, correct?
That you didn't use, yeah.
That you didn't use, go back. So I guess the point is, if you're not sure, go back and check.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, go back and check, because then you have an opportunity to use that to your advantage now, which is, so there's lots of ways for people to do this. Now, what do you think is the sweet spot? I mean, like, for example, am I too small of a business? Am I too large of a business? Should I be, who should be engaging with you? Like, what is the sweet spot that you found for a business to work with you? I mean, I guess any business can file, but what do you think is ideal, like, to get this stimulus?
It really depends on the entrepreneur's goals ultimately, but size wise, just to kind of give some general parameters, if you're really hurting as a sole proprietor, then I would say apply. But if you can figure it out on your own as a sole proprietor, then and you're not specifically hurting right now, then maybe, leave it for someone else who may need it more. But usually anyone with over 2 to 3 employees is going to benefit from the CARES Act the most. If you're over 150, 200,000 in revenue, that's another one that's going to be that you're going to be able to take more of an advantage. And I just
150,000 in revenue.
Yeah, in gross revenue. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because then your business has started to become profitable. And there's a whole bunch of other things that kick in at that point that you need to sort of think about. And all of this comes into play with your profit margins and things like that. But ultimately, you want to make sure that your best chance of success is going to be if you're able to show last year to this year or 2018 to 2019 some type of profit or income. Because what the main things that the SBA and the banks are going to look for is the ability to repay the loan should you have to. I mean, ultimately, that's what any lender is looking at. But I'll give you a couple of specifics. They're looking for a credit rating of over 640. They're also looking at a debt to service ratio of 1.25 times.
Okay.
And those are the main criteria that the SBA has put forth.
Okay.
That may change over time. I don't know if they're going to lessen the restrictions or if they're going to increase them. That's up to their discretion. They can do that at any point in time. But right now, that's the best information I have on it.
Yes. No, this is great. And I want to invite people to, I'm going to put the link in here. Patrick is doing free information sessions. If you want to get more information on this and you think you're a candidate, by all means, it's worth going through this process with Patrick. 45 minutes, depending on your questions, maybe it goes an hour, but you have the opportunity to learn. You're going to learn, and you can decide, if it's something that you want to pursue on your own.
And really get access to, and I apologize for talking over you, Austin, but really get access to what is extremely cheap money. I don't,
true, right?
I couldn't even get I couldn't apply for a mortgage, an FHA loan, without a 640 or better credit score. So now you can get a business loan with a 640 credit score.
And what's the rate? Is it 375 if it's not is that what it is?
Yeah, for the EIDL loan, the EIDL loan, through the disaster assistance program, that is 3.75%. And then the percentage on the PPP loan is 1% over 2 years.
Wow. But I mean, ideally you want to get it forgiven, but
absolutely. That's part of the thing is you have to track if you want to get it forgiven. Although I don't know who would not want to get it forgiven. It's free. If you could do that, it's free money.
But you got to hit those criteria, right? You got to have, I think there's
there's four different things you have to spend it on, and you have to keep track of it and put together a special accounting package over 18 weeks to track where the money's going, how it's been spent, et cetera, et cetera.
But it's nothing for any business that's already tracking. It's nothing that should be a major burden because you're already doing tracking to run your business.
Well, this will be special additional tracking that you have to do on top of that.
Right.
Like, this money cannot commingle with other funds.
Right. But what I'm saying is that they're still tracking. So to add, obviously it's another fund you're tracking, but it's still, a business is already used to tracking their expenses and what have you.
Exactly.
So maybe you gotta portion it out and track it separately, but and maybe it's a pain, but you can guarantee that you will get that loan forgiven, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for a lot of people, it's going to be a tremendous blessing, and it's going to enable a lot of people to keep their employees on, even if they're not working. And it'll be, if it gets into the right hands of people who will use it well, it's going to do amazing things for the people of our country.
Amen to that. And there's going to be, the businesses, And I just want to say, that the businesses that can ride these storms and get to the other side do extremely well. We've seen it throughout history, and I just want to encourage everyone to do that, to get this advice, sit through this session with Patrick, learn, and then take the information and go from there. And time is of the essence. So the quicker you can get through this and sort through it and make a decision, the better off you're going to be. So
I don't remember if I mentioned that we're anticipating that only about 10 million businesses are going to get the funding.
Yes.
That's already some of the banks, the very few number of them that are actually giving out the funds, and the fewer number that are even taking applications right now. They've already given out, I think it was around $5 billion of that $350 billion already. So that's a chunk.
First movers.
Yep.
Now I know there's talk of a second wave, but there's no guarantee on that. You don't know what the criteria is going to be.
Yeah, it's all unknown right now.
It's all unknown. So take action now. Sit through this session, and then go from there. I've sat through the session with Patrick. It's very educational. It'll open up your eyes, give you some perspective. Like I said, for me, it gave me some perspective on things that I could do that are outside of the stimulus package. There's some things that I could take advantage of, because I'm not the perfect candidate right now for getting anything right now, I guess. But we'll see. So,
well, that's the thing, is that the most businesses that are going to make it through this, Austin, and you're one of these, are the ones that are emotionally and mentally agile. Mm-hmm. If you can take the information and the situation in the world where it is right now, and you can pivot in your business, so you can figure out, okay, I mean, that's the true testament of any real entrepreneur anyways, is not, oh no, what's happening, is, all right, what can I do?
Yes.
What do I have to do?
Yes.
And that's one of the main points of when I go through any of these sessions, is it's truly a strategy session, right? Because it's, okay, what were you doing before? What was your business before? Okay, what's your plan for doing now? Because we may get back to work in 3-4 months. We may not. We don't know. If we don't, what are you going to do?
I was thinking about this. I mean, this is a funny story, but I'm going to share it. So, you've seen the movie Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember when he goes out and he gets the shrimp boat? Yep. Right. There's all these shrimp boats, they're not catching anything, and then Lieutenant Dan joins them, and they're out there and they're shrimping, and then the big storm comes in, right? And then in like one fell swoop, all the shrimp boats get knocked out except Jenny, right? The Forrest Gump's boat. And then after that, what happened? They started raking it in. Now, it's a fictional story, but it's very telling to, I think, what could happen in this climate that we're in. A lot of businesses are not going to be prepared. They're not going to make it. But the ones that do, if you can hang on, get the stimulus, get the loan, take advantage, just get into motion and move. You might be one of those businesses who are on the other side, and there could be a decades, whatever, after that of times of flourish. But we got to buckle down and get through this. So it's great what you're doing. I want to encourage everyone to click on the link and schedule an appointment. Patrick, are you running certain hours? Like, what are you? I mean, I know you're going, like, you're working around the clock, right? Like,
literally around the clock. We are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
We're just coming up on quitting time now.
Okay. So you're putting in 12-hour days. Okay.
Literally.
Weekends too?
Yeah, Saturdays as well.
Okay. You're making yourself very available right now.
Yeah, and we're busy too. I usually have about 4 to 6 appointments on this every day, plus on top of our regular work as a firm, because it's tax season and we do outsource.
So you're doing double duty right now.
Yeah. We're it's crazy, but people need us.
Right.
We're gonna be on 6 ABC News for Proud Philly.
Okay, when is that? Can we tell people when that is?
I don't know when it's gonna air. To be honest.
Okay, let me type it in. What is it called?
Proud Philly or Philly Proud.
Philly
I
Proud.
apologize. I'm a little dyslexic. So.
Okay. You figure out you know what? I know you don't know when yours is going to air, but when does Philly Proud air? Do you know? Like what day?
It's on 6 ABC News.
On 6
ABC, and they usually airs Fridays or Sundays, I think.
Okay, so look out for that. And if I find it, or Patrick, when you find it, you can always go back and share it here so people can see you on there and what you're doing, because that's why I wanted to get you on here, because it's things like this that people need access to, and the ones that get access to the right people to get their information in makes all the difference. So let me just punch that in. I just hit enter. Should be in there. And I think that's all we have right now, Patrick. So I got the calendar link. Is there any other way you want to share? Like, is your website? You want me to type your?
Our website is set up to accept appointments.
Is it Rude Financial?
RudeFinancial.us.
Okay, it looks like Dan put the link in for the Philly Proud, so that's cool. Thanks, Dan.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
So RudeFinancial.us.
Yep, that's us.
Okay.
You can see our whole team there on the website. Okay. We have a lot of information going on there. You can register for a session. Use the Calendly link though, because there is sometimes there's a little bit of a discrepancy between timing. The Calendly is hooked up to all of our email calendars, so you're for sure guaranteed to get on there.
Okay. So use the Calendly link I just posted. That's how you want to schedule.
And yeah, there's if anyone has any questions after a session, or even before a session, if you're want to see if you might be a good fit for it, reach out, send us an email. It can't hurt to ask, and the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you remain silent, then unfortunately you may not get greased in this economy right now.
No, that's true. And you're doing a great thing. And so I just want to, again, encourage everyone to schedule. And then if we get more information later, we may have you back on here if you want to do it. Like if there is relevant information that we can bring, we'll certainly do that. And I just want to let everyone know that emergencylifecoach.com is up and running. This was my creation. I created this long before this COVID-19. I just happened to prioritize it, and it's designed for people that are going through a job loss, tough situations, looking for answers. From the emotional, psychological side, there's a lot that happens. There was just on CBS Morning News, they just had a whole segment with Jane Pauley talking about how people are going to need support. They need it now, and they're going to need it, and it's in demand, and they're looking for people. They're looking for services. So I just ask that people help us share that service as well. And if you're in a personal finance situation where you're going through you don't know what to do personally, you're not a business and you're wondering what to do, send me a message, and I'll put a link in there as well after what you can do to take some steps in your own best interest. So Patrick, I just want to thank you for coming on here. Again, I just can't stress enough, take the action. It doesn't cost you anything. He's doing this. He wants to reach as many people as possible. And Patrick, real quick, how many applications have you successfully submitted so far?
We've so far submitted about 20 successful applications.
20. Okay. So you got 20 in. You want to personally save 100 businesses. So you definitely need to get to that. So there's a lot of room here to get yourself in here if you want to work with Patrick.
Yep. And I really hope that people take you up on your offer, Austin, because it's so much needed. Whether someone wants to, get a better job coming out of this, or, even increase their business potential. I would be nothing without the mentorship I've received in the past. And, there's so much value to be said in that. So thank you for providing that.
Yeah, and it's a great time to start a business too, by the way. I mean, it doesn't sound like it. You did it in 2000. So here's living proof. Patrick started his business back in 2008 in the middle of a recession. So don't think that you can't start a business now. I mean, that's an option for some people as well. And I'm a good candidate to help you there. But right now, if you're a candidate for what Patrick does, get on his calendar, because I know he's booked up quick. Get on the calendar, get through the information session, get educated so you can make a really good decision in your best interest.
Awesome. Amen.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Austin. Take care.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.